The rain pounded against the window of the cozy Brooklyn apartment, but inside, the air was thick with anticipation. Beatrice knelt on one knee, her heart racing as she held out the small velvet box, the diamond ring inside catching the light like a promise of forever. Jordan's eyes widened, not with joy, but with a flicker of panic that Beatrice would never forget. And in that moment, the rejection shattered everything they had built. "No, Beatrice, I can't," Jordan whispered, her voice breaking as she backed away, hands trembling. "My family. They wouldn't understand. This isn't how my life is supposed to go." Beatrice felt the world tilt, the ring suddenly heavy in her palm, a symbol now of loss rather than love. Years passed, and Beatrice rebuilt her life from the ruins. She threw herself into her passion for event planning, starting small with birthday parties and corporate gigs until her talent for creating magical moments caught the eye of New York's elite. By 30, she owned her own firm, Eternal Moments Weddings, specializing in bespoke ceremonies that whispered of romance and redemption. But the scar from that night never fully healed. She dated sporadically, always holding back, fearing another heartbreak. Her friends urged her to move on, but deep down, Beatrice knew Jordan's rejection had been more than personal. It was a surrender to the invisible chains of societal expectations, the kind that bound queer women in a world still grappling with acceptance. One crisp autumn morning, Beatrice's assistant buzzed her intercom. "Boss, you've got a new client consultation. High-profile wedding. Bride's name is Jordan Hayes." Beatrice froze, her coffee mug slipping from her fingers and shattering on the floor. Jordan Hayes, the same Jordan who had walked out on her 5 years ago, leaving Beatrice to pick up the pieces alone. She could have declined, cited a conflict, but something stirred inside her. Curiosity, perhaps, or a twisted need for closure. She agreed to the meeting, her mind racing with questions. What had become of Jordan? Had she found happiness in the normal life she craved? The consultation was at an upscale cafe in Manhattan, overlooking Central Park. Beatrice arrived early, dressed in her sharpest blazer, the epitome of professional poise. When Jordan walked in, time seemed to stall. She looked the same, long auburn hair, those piercing green eyes, but there was a weariness in her posture, a subtle tension around her smile. Beside her was her fiancé, Michael, a clean-cut lawyer with a firm handshake and easy charm. "We're so excited," Jordan said, her voice steady but her eyes avoiding Beatrice's. "Your reviews are incredible. We want something intimate yet elegant for our spring wedding." Beatrice nodded, pulling out her portfolio, but her thoughts were a whirlwind. How could Jordan sit there, planning her straight-passing future, without acknowledging the past? As they discussed venues and themes, Beatrice's professionalism held, but inside resentment simmered. Michael excused himself for a call, leaving the two women alone. "It's good to see you," Jordan finally murmured, her gaze flicking to Beatrice's face. "You've done well for yourself." "Good to see me?" Beatrice echoed, her tone sharper than intended. "After you left me kneeling on the floor like a fool?" Jordan flinched, glancing around the cafe. "Beatrice, please. That was years ago. I had no choice. My parents, the church, everything would have fallen apart." Beatrice leaned back, crossing her arms. "You always had a choice, Jordan. You chose fear over us." The words hung heavy, and for the first time Beatrice saw cracks in Jordan's facade. The way her fingers twisted her engagement ring, a gaudy thing that screamed compensation. By the end of the meeting, Jordan had signed the contract, perhaps out of guilt or desperation for the perfect wedding. As Beatrice left, she slipped her hand into her pocket, feeling the cool metal of the old ring she still carried, a talisman of what could have been. Little did Jordan know, this wedding would force them both to confront the truths they had buried. Over the next weeks, planning intensified. Beatrice dove into details, floral arrangements from local queer-owned businesses, a playlist blending indie folk with subtle nods to their shared past. But each interaction with Jordan peeled back layers of unresolved pain. During a venue scouting at a charming vineyard upstate, Jordan confessed in a hushed tone, "Michael is safe, Beatrice. He doesn't ask questions about my past. With you it was always so intense, so real. Too real for my family." Beatrice's jaw tightened. "Safe? Is that what you call hiding who you are? The vineyard's golden leaves rustled in the wind, mirroring the turmoil inside her. She wanted to shake Jordan, to demand why she had succumbed to the pressure of her conservative Midwestern parents, who viewed anything outside heteronormativity as a sin. But Beatrice held back, channeling her energy into the work. Yet, doubts crept in. Was she sabotaging her own healing by taking this job? Her therapist had warned her about reopening old wounds, but Beatrice pushed on, convinced this was her chance to prove she had moved beyond the rejection. One evening, after a tense tasting session where Michael's offhand joke about traditional values grated on Beatrice, she met her best friend, Riley, at a bar in the village. Riley, outspoken activist in the LGBTQ+ community, listened with furrowed brows. "You're playing with fire, Beatrice. This isn't just a gig. It's revenge wrapped in tulle." Beatrice sipped her whiskey, the burn matching her inner fire. "Maybe it is. But she needs to see what she gave up." Riley shook her head. "And what about you? Are you ready to pay the price if this blows up?" The winter chill settled over New York as wedding preparations ramped up, turning Beatrice's office into a whirlwind of fabric swatches and vendor contracts. Jordan's calls became more frequent, laced with hesitation that Beatrice couldn't ignore. The guest list. "My parents are insisting on inviting the whole congregation," Jordan said during one late-night discussion. Beatrice gripped the phone tighter. "And what about your friends from college? The ones who knew us?" There was a pause, heavy with unspoken history. "I can't risk it. Michael doesn't know about everything." Beatrice's stomach twisted. So Jordan had buried their relationship like a shameful secret, erasing 2 years of love to fit into a mold of acceptability. It fueled Beatrice's determination to infuse the wedding with subtle rebellions, choosing a photographer who specialized in diverse couples, selecting readings that hinted at authenticity over conformity. But the more she planned, the more her own conflicts surfaced. At a bridal shower she organized, surrounded by Jordan's straight-laced friends, Beatrice felt like an outsider, her queerness a silent scream in the room of pastel dresses and polite chatter. Michael, oblivious to the undercurrents, praised Beatrice's work effusively. "You're a lifesaver," he said at a fitting session, clapping her on the back. Jordan shot Beatrice a pleading look, as if begging her not to reveal the truth. Later, alone in the dressing room, Jordan broke. "Why did you take this job, Beatrice?" "To torture me." Tears welled in her eyes. Beatrice stepped closer, the air charged. "To remind you that you once chose love over fear." "What happened to that woman?" Jordan wiped her face, voice barely audible. "She grew up. Realized the world isn't kind to people like us. My dad threatened to cut me off. My mom said I'd burn in hell. I had to choose survival." Beatrice's heart ached, recognizing the familiar weight of familial pressure. Her own coming out had been met with reluctant acceptance from her liberal parents, but she knew the stories of others, disownment, conversion therapy whispers. Yet, Jordan's capitulation felt like a betrayal not just to her, but to their community. As tensions mounted, Beatrice faced her first major decision: whether to include a unity ceremony that symbolized blending lives authentically. She pushed for it, knowing it would force Jordan to confront her facade. "It's about honesty," Beatrice argued in a heated email exchange. Jordan relented, but the victory tasted bitter. That night, Beatrice attended a support group for queer professionals, sharing anonymized details. "I'm helping plan my ex's wedding to a man. Am I insane?" The group leader nodded sympathetically. "You're seeking closure, but at what cost? Don't let her pain become yours again." The turning point came during a cake tasting in a quaint bakery in Chelsea. Michael was delayed, leaving Beatrice and Jordan alone amid tiers of frosting. Jordan reached for a sample, her hand brushing Beatrice's, sending a jolt through both. "I still think about that night," Jordan admitted softly. "The ring. It was beautiful." Beatrice's breath caught. She had kept it, tucked away in her jewelry box, a reminder of vulnerability. "It was meant for someone who deserved it," she replied, the words laced with hurt. Jordan looked away, guilt etching her features. "Michael proposed last year. It was practical, expected. But with you it was passion." The confession hung, tempting Beatrice to push further, to demand Jordan call off the charade. But she held back, aware of the ethical line she treaded as a planner. Interfering could ruin her career, label her as unprofessional. Yet, the moral quandary gnawed. Was enabling this lie a betrayal to her own identity? Weeks blurred into dress fittings and rehearsal dinners. Beatrice's sleep suffered, haunted by dreams of that rainy proposal night. She confided in Riley again, who urged her to bow out. "You're not her savior, Beatrice, and this could end in disaster." But Beatrice persisted, driven by a mix of love's remnants and a desire for justice. When Jordan's mother arrived for a planning session, her disdain for alternative lifestyles slipped out in casual remarks, solidifying Beatrice's resolve. "We want a traditional affair," Mrs. Hayes insisted, eyeing Beatrice suspiciously. Beatrice smiled politely, but inside, she plotted small acts of defiance. A rainbow-hued floral accent hidden in the bouquet, a toast script that emphasized personal truth. The price was mounting. Her emotional exhaustion, the strain on her business if word got out. As spring approached, the wedding loomed like a storm, promising revelations that could shatter illusions. Jordan's indecision grew, her text to Beatrice veering from professional to personal, hinting at regret. Beatrice wondered if she was ready for the confrontation that seemed inevitable, or if the cost of truth would prove too high for them all. Spring bloomed in New York, but the air in Beatrice's office felt stifling as the wedding date neared. Invitations had gone out, RSVPs flooding in, each one a reminder of the facade Jordan was constructing. During a final venue walkthrough at the elegant Hudson Valley estate, Jordan pulled Beatrice aside in the garden, away from Michael's earshot. "I can't stop thinking about what you said. About choices." Her voice trembled, eyes searching Beatrice's for absolution. Beatrice crossed her arms, the scent of blooming lilacs clashing with the bitterness in her throat. "Then why go through with it? You're not just marrying him. You're marrying a lie." Jordan glanced back at the house where Michael chatted with vendors. "It's too late. Deposits paid, family flying in. What would I say? Sorry everyone, I'm gay?" The word hung between them, unspoken for years in Jordan's life. That admission cracked something in Beatrice. She had always suspected Jordan's bisexuality leaned more toward women, suppressed by upbringing. But hearing it now fueled a dangerous hope. "It's never too late for truth," Beatrice urged, her professional boundaries blurring. Jordan shook her head. "You don't understand the pressure. My career in finance, clients are conservative. Losing my family's support would destroy me." Beatrice's mind raced to her own sacrifices. The nights alone after the breakup, the therapy sessions dissecting abandonment, the walls she built around her heart. Taking this job had been her way to reclaim power, but now it felt like a trap. Later that day, as they finalized the seating chart, Mrs. Hayes cornered Beatrice. "You're quite the planner," she said with a tight smile. "Jordan speaks highly of you. Old friends, I hear." The implication was clear, a probe into their history. Beatrice met her gaze steadily. "We were close once. Life takes unexpected turns." Mrs. Hayes's eyes narrowed. "Indeed. We Hayes value tradition. No room for deviations." The bigotry stung, echoing the societal prejudices that had driven Jordan away. That night, Beatrice pored over old photos on her phone, their smiles from pride parades a stark contrast to the present. She decided then to escalate. During the rehearsal, she would slip in a moment of truth, perhaps through a symbolic gesture. The rehearsal dinner was a lavish affair at a rooftop restaurant overlooking the city skyline. Toasts flowed, Michael's family praising the couple's wholesome union. Jordan looked radiant but haunted, her laughter forced. When it was Beatrice's turn to speak as the planner, she chose her words carefully. "Weddings are about more than vows. They're about honoring your true self." The subtle dig landed. Jordan's fork clattered against her plate. Afterward, in the restroom, Jordan confronted her. "What are you doing? Trying to out me?" Tears streaked her makeup. Beatrice's resolve wavered. "No, but you can't keep running. Think about the damage, to yourself, to Michael." Jordan sobbed. "He suspects something. Asked about you last week. If this falls apart, I'll lose everything." The confession revealed the web of deceit. Michael's growing doubts, Jordan's secret therapy sessions grappling with her identity. Beatrice felt a pang of sympathy but also anger. Why drag her into this mess? As the planner, she had a duty to ensure the day went smoothly, but morally, enabling suppression felt wrong. She faced a choice: pull back or push Jordan toward awakening, risking her own fallout. In the days leading up, conflicts intensified. A vendor mix-up, intentionally or not, led to a delivery of pride-themed decorations, which Mrs. Hayes demanded removed. Jordan hesitated before agreeing, her eyes meeting Beatrice's in silent apology. Beatrice's business partner noticed the strain. "You're too invested. This isn't healthy." But Beatrice couldn't stop. The story had become hers too. On the eve of the wedding, Jordan showed up at Beatrice's apartment unannounced, rain-soaked and desperate. "I need to talk." They sat on the couch, the same one where Beatrice had proposed years ago. Jordan confessed everything. The forced engagement, the lingering love for Beatrice, the fear of societal backlash. "I thought marrying Michael would fix me." Beatrice's heart broke anew. "You don't need fixing. But you do need to decide, who are you living for?" The night stretched, filled with tears and truths. Jordan left undecided, leaving Beatrice to wrestle with her role. Had she overstepped, manipulating the situation for personal gain? The moral ambiguity weighed heavy as dawn broke. The wedding day dawning with promise and peril. Wedding day arrived under clear blue skies, the Hudson Valley estate buzzing with activity. Beatrice oversaw the setup with mechanical precision, her mind a storm of emotions. Jordan had texted at midnight, "I'm going through with it. Please no more." But Beatrice couldn't shake the previous night's revelations. As guests arrived, Jordan's conservative family mingling with Michael's liberal colleagues, the divide was palpable, a microcosm of societal rifts. In the bridal suite, Beatrice helped with final touches, the air thick with unspoken words. Jordan, in her white gown, looked ethereal but fragile. "Thank you for everything," she whispered, squeezing Beatrice's hand. The touch lingered, a spark of what once was. Beatrice swallowed hard. "Are you sure this is what you want?" Jordan's eyes filled with tears. "It's what I need." The ceremony began, the string quartet playing as guests took seats. Beatrice stood at the back, clipboard in hand, but her focus was on Jordan walking down the aisle on her father's arm. Mr. Hayes beamed with pride, oblivious to his daughter's turmoil. As vows were exchanged, Beatrice's chest tightened. Michael's words were sincere, but Jordan's voice wavered on "I do." During the unity candle lighting, a ritual Beatrice had insisted on, Jordan hesitated, her hands shaking. The flame flickered, symbolizing the merge of lives, but to Beatrice, it represented the burning away of falsehoods. Whispers rippled through the crowd as Jordan paused, glancing back at Beatrice. In that moment, time froze. Jordan's face crumpled and she stepped back. "I can't," she said, voice echoing. "I'm sorry, Michael. This isn't me." Chaos erupted. Guests gasped. Mrs. Hayes stood, face ashen. Michael looked stunned, hurt flashing in his eyes. "Jordan? What's going on?" Jordan turned to him, tears streaming. "I love someone else. A woman. I've been hiding it for years." The admission hung like a bombshell, shattering the perfect facade. Beatrice rushed forward as protocol demanded, but inside, triumph mixed with horror. Had her subtle pushes led to this? Michael pulled Jordan aside, his voice low but intense. "Is it her? The planner?" Jordan nodded and Michael's gaze turned to Beatrice, betrayal evident. "You knew." Guests murmured, phones out, the scandal spreading like wildfire. In the aftermath, as the reception was cancelled and vendors packed up, Beatrice faced the fallout. Mrs. Hayes confronted her in the parking lot. "You did this. You corrupted my daughter." Beatrice stood her ground. "No, ma'am. I helped her see the truth." But the words felt hollow, the price was steep. Jordan's family disowned her on the spot, her father declaring, "You're no daughter of mine." Michael, heartbroken, left without a word, his dreams shattered. Jordan found Beatrice by the lake, gown muddied. "What have I done?" she sobbed, collapsing into Beatrice's arms. Beatrice held her, guilt gnawing. "You chose honesty. But it hurts like hell." They sat there as the sun set, the weight of decisions pressing down. Beatrice's phone buzzed with messages, clients canceling, reviews tanking. Her business, built on trust, now tainted by scandal. That night, back in the city, Riley met Beatrice at her apartment. "You played a part in this explosion. Was it worth it?" Beatrice stared at the ring in her pocket, the same one from years ago. "I don't know." She needed to break free, but I pushed her over the edge. The moral dilemma haunted her. Had she acted out of love or vengeance? As Jordan crashed on her couch, homeless and broken, Beatrice wondered if redemption came at too high a cost. The days following the wedding that wasn't were a blur of damage control. Jordan moved in temporarily with Beatrice, her life in tatters, no job as her firm cited personal instability, no family support. Beatrice's firm teetered. Social media buzzed with accusations of sabotage. "Wedding planner ruins big day, inside job?" Headlines screamed. Clients fled, fearing drama. Beatrice's partner suggested a break. "This is bad for business." Amid the chaos, Jordan grappled with her awakening. "I feel free but terrified," she confessed over coffee. Beatrice nodded, her own regrets surfacing. "I should have stayed out of it. Pushed you gently, not into a crisis." But Jordan shook her head. "You gave me the courage. Without you, I'd be trapped forever." Their conversations delved deep into the societal pressures that force queer women into closets, the familial expectations that prioritized image over happiness. Michael reached out, demanding answers. In a tense meeting at a neutral cafe, he faced them both. "You used me," he accused Jordan, then turned to Beatrice. "And you orchestrated it." Jordan apologized profusely. "I never meant to hurt you. I was hiding from myself." Michael softened slightly. "I suspected, but hoped it wasn't true." He left with a sad nod, a victim of the collateral damage. As weeks passed, Jordan sought therapy, joining support groups for late-blooming lesbians. Beatrice accompanied her to one, facing her own issues. "I carried that rejection like a weapon," she admitted to the circle. The group discussed the ethics of intervention. When does helping become manipulating? Beatrice realized her actions, though well-intentioned, had crossed lines, costing innocents like Michael. Rebuilding began slowly. Jordan found a job at a progressive nonprofit, embracing her identity. Beatrice pivoted her business toward inclusive events, marketing to LGBTQ+ couples. But scars remained. Jordan's estrangement from her parents, who refused contact, citing religious convictions. In a heartfelt letter, Jordan pleaded for understanding, but silence answered. One evening as they walked through Central Park, Jordan stopped. "Do you think we could try again?" Beatrice hesitated, the old ring burning in her mind. "We've both paid dearly. But maybe with time." Their kiss was tentative, a spark amid ashes. Yet doubts lingered. Was this rebirth or rebound? Beatrice's awakening came during a confrontation with her mirror image. Riley challenged her. "You got revenge, but at what price?" "Jordan's family, Michael's trust, your reputation." Beatrice defended. It was about truth. But deep down, she questioned if her motives were pure. The story's twists had exposed not just Jordan's conflicts, but her own unresolved anger. As summer faded, Jordan moved out, needing space to heal independently. "I love you, but I have to stand on my own." Beatrice agreed, the separation bittersweet. She threw herself into advocacy, speaking at events about the costs of conformity. The experience had transformed her, but the ethical gray areas haunted. Had she righted a wrong or created new ones? Months turned into a year and New York moved on, but the echoes of that fateful day lingered. Beatrice's business recovered, rebranded as a beacon for authentic celebrations, attracting clients who valued her story. Jordan thrived in her new role, advocating for queer rights, her voice strong in panels and protests. They dated cautiously, building on honesty rather than passion alone. Yet, reconciliation with the past proved elusive. Jordan's attempts to mend family ties failed. Her mother sent a single message: "Pray for your soul." The rejection fueled Jordan's activism but deepened her wounds. Beatrice, too, reflected on her role. In quiet moments she pulled out the ring, contemplating its symbolism. A proposal rejected, now a relic of growth. Their relationship faced tests. Public scrutiny from the scandal, friends' skepticism. Are you sure she's changed? Riley asked. Beatrice nodded. We've both paid the price. That's the proof. But societal prejudices persisted. Stares in public, whispers at events. They navigated them together. Their bond forged in fire. One anniversary of the non-wedding, they revisited the estate, now a peaceful memory. If I hadn't hired you, Jordan mused, I'd still be lost. Beatrice smiled faintly. And if I hadn't taken the job, I'd still be bitter. They acknowledged the damages. Michael's eventual move away, starting over. The Hayes family's fractured unity. Beatrice's lost clients. The story culminated in a quiet proposal. Beatrice on one knee again, the same ring offered. Will you choose us this time? Jordan accepted, tears of joy. But the path had been paved with sacrifices, raising questions of morality. Was it right to disrupt a life built on lies, even if it led to truth, or did the ends justify the means when innocence suffered?